Well, hello everyone. Welcome back to Adrian's Digital Basement 2. I want to wish everyone a happy new year because I think by the time this video comes out, it'll either be New Year's or maybe New Year's Eve. I'm not sure exactly when I'm going to get this video out. But in today's video, what I want to do, well, it's kind of like Christmas. Everything you see on the bench here, all of this stuff, and I'm not even sure it all fits in camera, is stuff that's been sent in for mail call. And since I don't really do mail call episodes anymore, things have been kind of building up a lot. There is so much stuff here. It's kind of unbelievable. There's actually more than this. But I think there's like 4 or 5 bigger boxes that would take up the entire bench if I put them on the bench. So what I want to do today is I need to start getting through these boxes. So I have my laptop sitting over there because I like to take notes of who sent what and on what date and stuff like that. And I need to start opening these packages. Now, my older mail call episodes, I mean, everyone who watches my channel regularly will know they were very long. I mean, all my videos have been long lately, just kind of seems like how they've been. But opening up packages, I used to kind of dig deep into all the different items. Well, obviously, I can't do that. I think there are, I mean, I didn't actually count what's here. There's probably 40 packages here or more. So I think what I want to do in this video is like turbo open. So open the package, say who it's from. If there's a note, we'll kind of look at the note, check out the item real quick, but I'm not going to have time to like play around with stuff. So there's going to be stuff in here that will obviously, well, I mean, most of this stuff will become items for future videos, I'm sure. Am I even in frame? Yeah, I think I could just see my head on the corner here. Anyhow, there's going to be stuff that obviously, I mean, a lot of this is going to be useful for future videos. There'll be things that are like just chips and stuff like that, or parts that I'll take a look at quickly and then I'll have to sort those at some future time. But the more interesting things, I mean, there's things here that aren't in boxes because they were given to me by local people, and these things alone warrant their own videos. It's just, when can I get to that? I don't know. We'll see. There's only one of me. I'm making Lisa videos. It takes up all my time and all the other videos on the main channel. So yeah, this is the generosity of everyone, all my viewers. It's frankly unbelievable. And I think people seeing this will be kind of amazed. And I know that some of this stuff, I'm looking like this is a few months old, but there are things here that are probably from last year, because I had a big box and all the small packages were going into the big box. And then I'd like pull stuff out, make mail call episodes. And oh, and just in case you're wondering, the reason why I don't make mail call episodes anymore is during the whole ad blocker YouTube view apocalypse situation, well, it kind of came to light that when it comes to second channel videos, which really don't perform that well compared to main channel videos, that's okay. I'm okay with them not performing nearly as well just because I put less effort. That's the whole idea of second channel. So it's the low effort channel. Well, the thing is, during that view apocalypse where the ad blockers were kind of blocking the YouTube view counts and whatever was going on there for like a month or two back in August, well, there were mail call episodes that were getting like 10,000 views. And, you know, that's a fraction of what I normally get on videos. Even on the second channel, that's maybe like a third to a quarter. And then on the main channel, it's even more. So if I'm going to be spending multiple hours editing and putting together all that stuff, it just didn't really make sense to kind of keep making those, because obviously those are the least favorite videos of my viewers. Now, I know there'll be comments right away, people saying, hey, I really loved those videos, and I hear you, but unfortunately, there's only so much time in the day, and I have to sort of split my time and use it efficiently. And obviously, I can, once I've opened all this stuff up, then that gives me a chance to know what's here, because I don't know what's in all these boxes, except for the things that are open already. And if I say, you know, I want to make a video about this today, or, you know, something that's in one of these other boxes, I'll be able to do that because all this stuff will be out, be cataloged, and I'll have it ready to go, you know, future content basically. But in a box like this, it doesn't really work as future content because I just don't know what's in these boxes. A few of them I know is people have written stuff on them. I see one over there says it has candy in it, and it's probably been here for who knows how long. Luckily, down in the basement, I say this a lot, it's a nice, you know, 20 to 21 degrees Celsius or like 68 to 70 all the time, you know, 365 days a year. So that's the best chance of things like candy not going bad because it's not exposed to heat or cold or whatever. But anyhow, yeah, so what I want to do, like I said, is just start going through these. I'm going to have to be really quick about it because I want to try to get through all of this in one video. I just don't know if that's possible because, yeah, anyways. I mean, just looking at it, it's overwhelming to me a little bit. But again, it's a wild problem to have because this is all due to the generosity of people. And the fact that it's overwhelming is all my fault, just because I kind of let this accumulate. But that's how it goes. And I know people like LGR don't do like mail call type videos anymore, but LGR will have these types of large videos where you like open a bunch of packages. So that's what today's video is. And this will be the first time I'll be doing one of these. And hopefully, whoa, I guess we'll see how much I get through because you know me, I like to talk and I'm doing it now for the intro. The intro is too long already. So anyways, okay, let's get started opening these boxes. For opening packages, I have a knife, I have a stapler in case there's any papers and things I need to staple together just to kind of keep the information together. I want to keep the papers with the packages or with the items. So certainly there's going to be some of these with technical information. When I want to get to making a video about it, I'll need that. And I have my laptop here, like I said, for typing in the details on the mail call log. And yes, you'll notice the lights are off. It's late at night. This is an Adrian's Digital Basement 2 After Dark video. I haven't done one of these in a while. Well, sometimes I do. I just have all the lights on, so you can't really tell. But with all the lights off here, it's good because that way I don't reveal any PII on any of those labels back there. All right, I'm to the end of the mail call list, which incidentally has 471 things on it. The last thing I opened was a package from Alex from the YouTube channel Bits and Bolts, and I think that was back, it was back in September. So even that's been a while since I've opened anything. There's a few packages instantly I've opened accidentally. Like they didn't say mail call them. I opened them and like, oh, this is clearly a mail call item, not something I ordered. Anyhow, as I said, there were 471 items that I've opened for mail call episodes. And I think we're gonna have another 50 to 60, something like that. Okay, let me get situated here and we'll grab the first package. And there's no rhyme or reason. I'm just gonna grab a package and open it up. So this package here is from January 2024. That means it's 2 years old. Comes from Lewis in Montreal, Canada. Hi to all my Canadian viewers. Oh boy, this is about 2 years old and we have some cookies. And what are these? Oh, these are keyboard adapters. I remember this. So the note says that these are Cherry MX to Datanetics DC51 keyboard switch adapters I emailed you about last April. And I'm pretty sure the Datanetics keyboard key switches are the ones from the Apple II and the 2 Plus keyboards, the earlier 2 Pluses, but all the Apple IIs. And those key switches are extremely difficult to work on. You open them up and they kind of destroy themselves. So here's an entire bag of adapters that allows you to use Cherry MX switches on the same PCB. I'm pretty sure that's what that is. And it looks like there's also a set of the little stem adapters so you can actually use different keycaps. No, actually, sorry. These actually allow you to use the original keycaps from the Apple II on Cherry MX switches. And Lewis actually designed them himself using CAD and 3D printing to kind of implement them. So take a look at these QR codes. If you want to take a look at the threads to find out more about these adapters, check here. That's awesome. Thank you, Lewis. Trying out one of the cookies. Let's see how they are. Well, they still taste good, even though it says best before April 2024. Sorry about that, Lewis, but thank you again for the cookies. And I will eat these still because they actually are still crunchy and good. Like I said, being down here in the basement, I think does the trick and keeps things fresher than if they were in a hot or cold place. And there's what I'm talking about. Staple the letter to the product. So if I ever need to figure out who these are from in the future, I'll know that. Next package is from Polymatt. Pretty sure this is a new door for a monitor that Polymatt completely modified, a little monochrome monitor. And I think, oh, there it is. Hi, Adrian. Thanks so much for the pictures. And hopefully these fit. One is for if you'd like to try to swap the front and back labels. And the other, I took a little creative license. Enjoy, Polymatt. So what this is about is a little monochrome monitor that Polymatt made a great video on. And Polymatt's was missing its front door. And mine had it. Wow, that looks nice. So we designed the new replacement front door, like this one. Looks great. You can see that it's 3D printed, obviously, but it looks like it's been painted. So I think on the monitor, it would look good. And now mine has a little chip right here on the handle. I took photos of mine so that Polymatt could reproduce it. And that's what we have here. That looks freaking great. So I think this is the original one, and here is the Creative License one. Yep, the Pi4 USI by USI, and it does have this orange paint, and yeah, wow, that looks so freaking nice, honestly. Absolutely fantastic. I will definitely put this on my monitor so I can get rid of the little broken. This part is mostly broken on mine, and I love how it even has the little textured lines. That is so cool. I'll try to put a link to this video down below if you haven't already seen it. Next package here comes from John in Davenport, Florida. Hi to all my Florida viewers. Oh yeah, okay, I remember what this is all about. This is NES RGB, very cool. John had sent in a bunch of stuff, including a Pi 3, but also a Famicom that had an AV mod on it. I did a repair on a previous video. Then John mentioned they had an RGB, or sorry, the NES RGB. This goes under the PPU and will give the Famicom nice RGB output, plus S-video and all that good stuff. For the Famicom, you need this little board that relocates the PPU to a different spot just so this can fit in there. And if you've seen my video on the Lava RSC NES clone console, that's basically a modern console that well, a Famicom clone, but it uses the original CPU and PPU, but then it has the NES RGB cloned and also built into the board. So the original board doesn't have original composite video anymore and RF or whatever. It just has the output from this, which is S-video component, no, not component, S-video, RGB, and composite that's regenerated by the FPGA that's in here. So this looks at all the signals going to the PPU and recreates the video signal. So I think the Lava RSC is essentially exactly the same as this. It's just this allows you to modify an original Famicom with this board that will give you like that super picture perfect display. And I recently did that video with those Famiclones, and I would definitely want to get back to fixing up the one that John sent in. I have the original Famicom that John sent. It's sitting over there on my shelves that are filled with stuff that, you know, to work on and whatnot. And like I mentioned, that machine happens to have already installed the AV mod, and I've done some videos since about the whole AV mod situation. I tried to do a mod on one of these Famicoms, a different one, but ultimately going with the RGB or NES RGB gives you the best possible output and almost perfect compatibility. I just found out the other day that at least the Lava RSC boards have some compatibility issues with Codemaster games. They were unlicensed games and they really pushed the NES to the limit, and those don't seem to work properly. So I need to install this into the Famicom, or I could go into a regular NES as well, although I think all the parts that are here are for the Famicom. And then I need to see if those Codemaster games also have an issue on here. I couldn't find people talking about the fact that the Codemaster games don't work on the Lava RSC or the NES RGB, but I figure if it doesn't work on one, it's not going to work on the other, because I'm pretty sure it's just a direct clone. Like the NES RGB is a direct clone of this, which is an original board that came out in 2013 or so, and was relatively pricey for quite a long time. I don't know if it's still for sale, and if it is, I don't know how much it costs. I'm just stapling the NES RGB to the instructions. There we go. So it kind of holds all the parts together. Anyhow, thanks very much, John, for sending this in. John did tell me ages ago, because I'm pretty sure this package, like I said, was from January, no, this package was from November of 2024. So over a year I've had it. Anyhow, thank you very much, John, for this. Let's get to the next package, which I'll just take off the stack, which I just grew. All right, this might be the oldest package I have, I hope, because this is from Sean Harrington of the Aquarius, modern Aquarius fame. This is from December of 2023. Oldest package I have, I hope. Because how embarrassing. And there's the Aquarius logo, the Plus version, and I'm pretty sure, oh, what's this? Because he's holding a thermal detonator. Ah, C-3PO there. Okay, so I'm pretty sure what this is, as a note, I'm pretty sure this is going to be a modern Aquarius, the Aquarius Plus. And let's zoom in a little bit, since I probably won't have time to put all these links down in the description. There it is, Aquarius Plus Quick Start to get started. That's a cool coaster, very nice shiny acrylic. So the Aquarius, if you're not familiar, was a Z80 computer. I think it's a Z80. I do have one. Z80 computer, 8 bits, didn't succeed in the market. I'm pretty sure this is a re-implementation of it. I don't remember exactly what's in it, but we do have VGA and USB. So yeah, I think this is kind of modern. It's not emulation. It might be an FPGA in here. I can't quite remember, but I've obviously had this for a few years. Original joystick ports, SD card slot. There's some ports on the side, and on this side, oh, look at that. So we have custom hardware in here. From my recollection of what Sean has told me, and look at this, I've had this for so long. Gosh, how embarrassing. I've had this for so long. I'm pretty sure this not only emulates or recreates the original hardware, but it also is much more capable. So you can switch into like an accelerated, a much more fast mode. Sean is one of the biggest fans of the Aquarius that I know, and a really, really nice guy as well. And I feel super bad for having had this for so long and never opening it. So definitely take a look at that GitHub repo and check out some of the videos on the Aquarius Plus, because this is a pretty neat little machine. And it's absolutely something that I would like to get to in the future to check out and everything. So thank you, Sean, for sending that in. And sorry, I can't really show more of it. When you sent this in, I was doing the mail call episodes, and if I had just picked the package off the random shelf, well, then I would have been able to demo it. But in this video, unfortunately, that's not possible. I really like this. Very cool. This package comes from Sean in Dacula, Georgia, and Sean sent this 2-day air, and I haven't opened it yet. And it even says candy inside all over the box. My bad. Really sorry about that, Jonathan. You know what happens, and I'll just sort of talk about this while I try to open this. When I have these mail call packages come in, oh, this is kind of difficult to open because there's a flap right there, I can tell. When the mail call packages come in, what happens is they just kind of go into a big box. And when I go to open the packages, like I was doing before, is I didn't look to see when stuff came in. It wasn't first in, first out, unfortunately. It was just first in, random out. And that's what kind of happened. So hopefully the candy that's in here is still good. John says, I've enclosed a few hardware projects I've been working on, some of them offshoots of existing open source designs. 1084S monitor adapter, micro PSU replacement, spin on DeBone's TN99 4A PSU replacement, outputs +12, -12, 5 volts from a 12 volt input, uses a CUI regulator to generate the -12 or -5 is swapped. Originally intended for MSX systems. Oh, that's cool. Cart64 out by Sven Peterson. This is a C64 cartridge port breakout board with signal, control, reset, and a 40-pin debug header, and a 40-pin 1-to-1 breakout board. Coming soon to a GitHub repo. Check out those URLs. I'll just hold this still for a second. The PSU replacement sounds really quite nifty. All right, so the first thing is the breakout. Oh, cool. Okay, I see what this is. So DIP 40 to a ribbon cable, so like an IDE cable, 40-pin 1-to-1 breakout. Neat. Here's that Cart64 out, Sven Peterson. So C64 cartridge connector, plug your cartridge into that, has a reset button, you have some extra jumpers, and you have a header here to do debugging and stuff. Pretty nifty. Just trying to see exactly what we have available on these jumpers there. My assumption is the jumpers go to those pull-up resistors? Maybe? Actually, no, some don't. Interesting. Some have to be pulled up. But if you want to like force the machine into XROM mode or something like that, you could do it. Pretty cool. Okay, here's that little PSU replacement. The Hexbus Mini PSU replacement. This actually could be really useful, yeah, for things like the TI, which requires these voltages, but also the Atom, and I think also maybe the ColecoVision. Anyways, you get reverse protection there. This little thing here, it says 7812. Okay, it's a very funny package I'm not familiar with. Oh, it's just 3 pins though. Maybe that's one of those solid state ones that doesn't get hot. And then our little thing here gets 12 volts in and gives a nice regulated 12 volts out. So a little buck converter, and doesn't have an adjustment, which is good. So it's a fixed voltage. So that's pretty cool. So 12 volts goes directly here. This generates the 5 volts. And then this will provide this DC-DC converter that gives you, I guess it's the -12 volts. And it sounded like you could swap this out for a -5 volt version if you so desired. And there is the URL, the GitHub repo URL, and the credits to the original version. And that's actually very useful because I think I have a ColecoVision board that's bare. I don't have the rest of the console. And this might be perfect for testing that out because I'm pretty sure it needs all these voltages. Might need other ones too, and then I wouldn't be able to use it. But that's still very cool. Here is that 1084S adapter board. So the Philips 1084S has 2 DINs, one for digital TTL and one for analog. I don't remember which is which. And then the regular the other 1084s, all the other ones, like the Daewoo version, has just a 9-pin connector. So my assumption is this allows you to kind of rewire this on the fly. Very handy. Plus it gives you some test points. I really like those. Doesn't have anything on it, no circuitry except bodge wire. So this could definitely come in handy if you have one of these monitors, or say you have one of these monitors, but you have a DIN cable to your Amiga. What you could do is just make a DIN cable that goes from this to the back of the monitor, and then you can use a standard cable. I typically make little adapters, just little pigtails that have the connectors I need, like a DIN header to a 9-pin or whatever. But this is still pretty useful for folks who need to kind of change stuff on the fly or probe signals. So that's pretty cool. Oh, check it out. In the box, John included the DIN cables. It's kind of funny how there's a gap. So the dimple or whatever you want to call that, how there's a gap there, but not on that side. And then this will be for the other one, the digital one, which happens to be the same pinout. I'm pretty sure this is the same pinout as IEC. So the Commodore 1541 floppy drives and similar use that particular DIN connector. So there it is. So this would plug into the back of the monitor and then allow you to use a standard 9-pin cable, which is handy. Awesome. And then we have candy. And you know what? It's more of these retro sours, which I freaking love these. So we have the mango flavor, which is absolutely delicious. And we have the mango flavor, which is absolutely delicious as well. And we have a third one, which is absolutely delicious. And you know what? Maybe it was John or someone sent me in some of these before. So there was a tangerine one. And of course, I've long since eaten these because these are little breath mints basically. But I use these for like parts. Now those parts, I wonder where these came out of. I don't know. I probably should test those and organize them and put them away. But there's that one. There's also this citrus flavor one, which is, oh, it's got a couple little parts in here as well. Oh, in fact, this is from the Lisa. Yeah, these are bad parts from the Apple Lisa. And then I have this one here for the mangoes stuff, and it's empty. But I love these for just holding parts because the lid stays on. And once I've eaten all of these, the 3 that I just got from John, these will become part storage as well. Look at me clanking around. Thank you very much, John, for all this awesome stuff. And like I said, if anyone wants to check out some of those URLs, there they are again. And that way you can get this stuff or make these things yourself. Awesome. I just noticed I've been recording for 32 minutes and I've only opened up 5 packages. Gotta go faster, Adrian. Okay, our next package comes from Rudy of RudysRetroIntel. There's a sticker upside down. Rudy is from Wasaga Beach, Ontario. Now this didn't have a shipping package because someone gave this to me, but I've had this stuff for a while. And I'm sorry, Rudy, that I haven't gotten to this yet. Now I recall what these are. This is the Pet Companion. Let's zoom up on this. We have a letter, but we'll just take a look at this stuff first. Pet Companion 4.0, RudysRetroIntel. So what this does is you plug it into the user port, if I recall, and for the versions of the Pet that have the video output on the user port, which might be all of them, I can't remember, you get audio out, because yes, Pet audio is like a beep speaker through the user port, and you get composite out as well. So the ICs here are combining the composite video signal, and then that generates the video signal. And this is for 5 volts on the tape port. So that was pretty cool. And I recall I gave feedback to Rudy without even looking at this, saying, hey, you know what you should do is also add a 9-pin connector onto this board so you have composite out, but you can also hook it up and use something like an RGB to HDMI, the TTL version. Yes. So that's exactly what Rudy did. And here is the updated version, which is the version 7.5N. So same thing, composite video, audio, 9-pin for your RGB to HDMI, the same connection to the tape for the 5 volts, because these chips, user port does not have 5 volts, maybe not on all of them. Some of them do. Extra audio out. Maybe there's a second channel for some games, something like that. Oh, look, we have stuff on the back as well. Pet Companion, RudysRetroIntel. There's Rudy's YouTube channel. Let me zoom in and stop shaking so you can see that more clearly. There it is, RudysRetroIntel. And the information to make one of these yourself is available at Rudy's GitHub repo there. And there's the RGB to HDMI connection and the pinout, and that's perfect. Yep, that's because he's using the CGA style pinout, horizontal vertical sync 8 and 9, and we have 1 to 3 is ground, and then we have CGA video on pin 5, which would be green, and the RGB to HDMI can handle that. And it looks like a way to switch between normal and inverse video. The original version is this a little, oh, 10K pot. I thought that was a reset button for a second. That is cool. There were a few other things in here. We have some standoffs, probably for those, they stick out of the user port, so you want to have these little plastic standoffs so they don't bend down too far. Like I said, a sticker. And we have an edit ROM replacement for the PET 4000 series. Yes, What this does, let's open this up. I'm pretty sure if you pop this into the edit ROM socket, and yes, this is, let's see what kind of EEPROM that is. Can we see? 2716. So you pop this in to the edit ROM, which is, I forgot which socket, but it's the only one that has a socket. It switches the 4000 PETs into NTSC output mode. So the 4000 series don't run at normal NTSC resolution, they run at a higher resolution. So therefore it's not compatible. If you plug one of these in, the composite video you're gonna get out of it won't work on a regular composite monitor, on an NTSC or PAL monitor. It will work if you plug it into the RGB to HDMI though. If you use a version, well, I have it plugged in right now, but if the version that has a composite video, that will work. But if you want to not change the ROM, you can just use this, or change the ROM and then you can use a standard composite video. And the reason why you might want to do something like that, use one of these adapters, is, well, I've showed on my channel before, but if you're working on a Commodore PET and say the monitor is not working, or say you're working it with the monitor removed and you want to turn the computer off and on and test it, you really need something like this to generate the composite video, or you have to make it yourself or use RGB HDMI. That way you can do the troubleshooting with the machine like that. And yeah, these are really awesome. So totally check out Rudy's YouTube channel and also his GitHub repo, because this is a very cool little project. And next time I work on a PET, I will definitely be using one of these. Awesome. And there is a letter, and it's the PET companion board. And I kind of talked about it already. The 4000 has a little tiny speaker. That's the PET 4000, but you can get audio out with this. You can even add a little audio amplifier or whatever. The 2001 has no speaker. That's the original, so you have no sound. And yeah, basically it's kind of what I talked about. So check out Rudy's Retro Intel on YouTube. Thank you, Rudy, and sorry for taking so long to get to this. Wow, I was trying to open this package from Jesse in Stillwell, Oklahoma. Hi to all my Oklahoma viewers. And the blade just sort of came out of my knife. That's not great. Right, we have a little handwritten note from Jesse. It says, Adrian, this is the 1200 XL, it's the Atari 1200 XL ClearPick 2002 mod in kit form. Instructions are in the bag of components. Enjoy. Well, how awesome is this? And yes, Atari Age Forums, that's where Jesse is from. I worked on a 1200 and it had a little bit of a video mod, but it wasn't working well. And the funny thing is, I gave away that 1200 I worked on recently to someone in the community because it was working pretty well. But I still have my own 1200, which I'm pretty sure has its stock video and definitely needs this mod. I'm pretty sure what this does, once assembled, and what do we have here? A little PCB maybe, or no, just have some parts. And okay, so I guess no PCB. So this is a pretty good video upgrade for your 1200 XL that adds S-video. So this Atari and later's did not have the S-video or Luma Chroma wired in properly. Atari just saved money, I guess. The original 800 had it, the predecessor to this machine. So this does a bunch of stuff and I think makes it look really good. And on the back side, yes. Awesome. Thank you, Jesse. So we have all the replacement parts that go onto the 1200, and this is obviously going to be all kept together because I absolutely, positively, like I said, need to do that mod on my 1200, which is a really nice mint condition one that absolutely needs this mod done to it so it can be my Atari 8-bit machine of choice to use whenever I go to use them. So I'm just going to staple this stuff together along with Jesse's note and the installation instructions. That way I'll remember when I finally get to this that it came from Jesse. Thank you very much, Jesse. Very, very helpful. All right, this next package comes from Chris in Huntington Woods, Minnesota. I'm just looking at my, or is it Michigan? Oh, I think it's Michigan, actually, MI. Yes, just looking at my laptop, I typed in where it's from. This package I've had for over a year. It'll be a year and a little bit now. Pretty sure what we have is an HDMI adapter for the Apple II. And Chris had sent one in previously, our DVI adapter that I had shown on the channel, and this is an updated version. Now I have seen Chris since at VCF in Chicago, and yeah, I think Chris was like, hey, you didn't show my thing yet. And I'm like, yes, I'm so sorry about that. Okay, yes, I did show this. You might recall this video. I think it was on the main channel, and this is the Apple II DVI, but this is the version 3, and I can't remember what the difference is. It probably will say it in the letter. I think the version, what I had, I said DVI, but it was still HDMI, just is a DVI protocol. But yeah, Raspberry Pi, muxes, because there's not enough inputs to talk to all the pins. And this thing outputs pixel perfect video for your Apple II in a very inexpensive package. So highly recommend it. And I'm pretty sure Chris sells these. I'm sorry, Chris, to not be able to test this in this video, but I know this is going to be improved. We also have something else here. It looks like another Pi thing for the Apple II. Chris makes a bunch of cool things for the Apple II. What is this? Oh, okay. So that's a USB-C to A adapter. I think this thing, oh, you know, I wonder, well, that's an Atmel chip. And these are level shifter 74V or LVC 245s. Oh, I'm pretty sure what this is. Apple II to USB to allow you to use, I can't remember what this lets you do. I don't think it lets you use joysticks. It probably says it in the letter. We'll look at that in a second. Chris also sent this. This appears to be, I think these are accessories for what? These are little back plates that can go on the Apple II, or IIe specifically. So HDMI cable. All right. Okay. So yes, this would work with this. So that way you don't have to have the HDMI cable fish in the computer. Because if I recall, when this is installed in the Apple II, if the back of the computer is here, HDMI faces the keyboard. So the HDMI has to loop around. So with this little extension cord, you can plug it into there, and then you can screw this into that plate, and you can have HDMI right on the back of the computer. Toggle switch, alt character set. That's right. I remember that now. We even have a set of nuts and fasteners. And let's see what the letter says. Oh, it's not actually a letter. It's just more to do with the functionality of these cards. So the USB card allows you to use mice. That's right. So you don't have to buy the expensive Apple mouse card and use a Macintosh or an Apple II compatible mouse. You can use a USB mouse with a wireless mouse or whatever. That is freaking cool. And the fact is, Apple II USB eliminates the need to purchase expensive bus mouse adapters and the Apple Quadrature mice. I don't think there's really too much to say about this. You just plug it in and it should work. High DPI gaming mouse can cause the mouse pointer to run away or continue moving. I think that's because the update rate's not fast enough. And this adapter, by the way, is not for keyboards or joysticks, only for mice to emulate the Apple mouse card. I think that goes into slot 4 normally. And then here is the new VGA card, version 3, digital output card for the 2 Plus and 2E computers. It connects to HDMI or DVI inputs of most video monitors and delivers the highest quality image without the need of external conversion device. So you don't need to retro tank things like that. You can have an alternate font, as I mentioned. It's a software-defined card. Both of these are. Since the firmware is doing the heavy lifting, you can update the firmware and, you know, add functionality, stuff like that. Now, with the VGA card, I talked about this when I looked at his previous version. This snoops the bus, meaning this can go into any slot. It's not like it has to be, it's not like a video card. It just snoops the activity going to the Apple II's buffer and then converts that. So that's why you can have different fonts and stuff, because what this is doing is recreating the entire buffer, Apple buffer in this Raspberry Pi. And the funny thing is about it is if your Apple II has some display issues in the hardware on the motherboard, but say is running otherwise, a card like this can potentially allow you to actually see what's going on and use the computer while the computer's not working, because the card is recreating that video buffer. There is a configuration utility, ProDOS DOS 3.3. The alternate character set is good for the European versions of the Apple II. And of course, if some of those don't have color because they're NTSC color and on PAL, you just get black and white. So you get color if you use one of these. That's the other awesome stuff. And it looks like there's a sync signal on slot 7 that allows you to auto switch the character set. It looks like that's what that's all about. This board is based on a hardware reference design, and there are some other solutions out there floating around as well that are open source that you can take a look at. And it's using the Pico DVI library. That's to actually drive the digital video signals out that connector. So this is a pretty cool, complete package. I'm going to try to remember to put a link to Chris's store. He sells this plus a bunch of other things. So you just search for A2 DVI if you want to pick one of these up yourself. There's a bunch of other things on Chris's store as well. I remember, well, at least at VCF, when I see Chris, he's got a table full of cool stuff like this. I don't know if he normally sells those other things on his store or if that's just a VCF thing, but these are two very cool products. And next time I work on an Apple II, I'm going to have to show these Apple IIe specifically. And I've talked about in the past, by the way, that I absolutely love the fact that we have this software-defined hardware, especially for these old computers, because things like this used to be very expensive. And now that you can get these very inexpensively is super awesome. Okay, so this next package comes from the creator of the PicoGus. And here's a note. Oh, I love it. It's on an old punch card. Hi, Adrian. Thanks for everything you've done over the years. Pico Gus wouldn't have been the success it has been without your interest in it and your videos featuring it. So here's my next thing, the Pico IDE. Please reach out if you have any questions about it. By the way, by the time you get this, the firmware is probably already out of date. All the best, Ian. So as I said, Pico Gus, another software-defined card, but for the ISA bus instead. We have Pico Gus, Pico Mem, and now the Pico IDE. Now this is specifically an IDE emulator. So this does not plug into the ISA bus, but it's using the Raspberry Pi Pico again. I can't tell if that's the new version or the old one. That is the new version, the 2350 as opposed to the 2040, so more horsepower. And yeah, what this does, I love this by the way, what this does, open source hardware, is I'm jumping around. You plug in your IDE 40-pin cable here, you put in an SD card, this thing freaking emulates CD-ROM drives, and I think possibly hard drives as well. So we have an entire awesome 3D printed front panel here, up, down, left, right. We have, there's the SD card slot. We have a headphone jack. Yes, for CD-ROM audio. I had been following the development of this, and unfortunately, like I said, on this video, I'm not gonna be able to really test this out. I'm definitely gonna have to revisit this. This is a very new product. Unlike some of this stuff that hasn't been sitting here for months. I actually got this a couple days ago. I just looked at the date on the box. This is super cool. And if you're interested in like 46 machines, for instance, and you want to run CD-ROM games, because a lot of games really only work on CD-ROM on like an old 486, this Pico IDE is for you. And as I said, the audio out emulates the CD audio. So I think you could load like a bin.q file onto your SD card and load up a game like Myst, and it completely emulates like, I don't know, like a 4-speed CD-ROM or 8-speed. I might be totally off base. This is just what Ian was telling me. And you get the audio as well. And then you can use this little OLED screen to select which disc you're using. So if it's a multi-disc game, you can switch games and stuff like that. This is freaking so cool. And another awesome use for this incredibly inexpensive microcontroller, which is all this is. And it's emulating IDE. I can't remember if it does hard drives, but we don't necessarily need that because of course we have, well, actually I cleaned up my bench. You know, I use those compact flash adapters, plus there's SD card versions. Those are so easy and cheap and plentiful. But CD-ROM emulators, not so much. Now, I happen to have a pile of CD-ROM drives over there, and I'm lucky that way because most of those work, or they did at least, but they're starting to kind of fail and get harder and harder to find. So the fact that something like this exists and it's open source hardware, chef's kiss, absolute chef's kiss. So sorry, Ian, I haven't been able to test this out yet, but I'm very much looking forward to it. And when I do finally build up my awesome, totally cool 46 machine, I'm definitely gonna have to put this in there. That way I can play some of those CD-ROM games. I'm kind of only a casual CD-ROM gamer on the PC at least. I was kind of using PlayStation by the time, you know, people were playing a lot of PC or CD-ROM games on PCs. And I remember when I did play games that were CD-ROM based, I'd copy them to my hard drive and then I would use a patch to make it so I didn't have to put the CD in all the time. That was the biggest annoyance. A lot of times they would install to your hard drive, the whole game. And then you had to put the disc in there just to play it, just for like a copy protection. That was so stupid. So I would always patch that out of it and then I would just run it off the hard drive. So I don't really remember having to use CDs a lot. But with something like this, you can still play those old CD-ROM games and have the audio. Obviously, when I'm talking about what I used to do with the patching, that was on later Pentium machines where there was no CD audio. It was all like in-game on the computer. But it was the earlier stuff in the 46 where you definitely needed that CD audio. Otherwise, you'd have no music. So Ian, thank you very much for sending this. And like I said, highly recommend taking a look at this awesome open source project, just like Pico Gus, which is freaking great. Chef's kiss again. I love all this stuff. I love it. You know what's funny? Look at that pile back there. It's like, I didn't even like make a dent at all. And I guess, yeah, I haven't opened that many packages either. All right, so this package comes from Daniel in Waukesha, Wisconsin. Hopefully I'm saying that correctly. A huge hello to all my Wisconsin viewers. And I will point out, by the way, I love cheese curds and I can't find them here. It is impossible to buy cheese curds anywhere in Oregon. Well, maybe not anywhere. You can get them at the Tillamook Cheese Factory in Tillamook, Oregon, but that's like, you know, an hour-and-a-half drive. So I get them when I go there, but in Portland here, I can never find them. And I know in Wisconsin, they're everywhere. Like every store has them. It's super annoying, but please don't send me any cheese curds. Well, if you do, they have to be refrigerated and like, you know, perishable written on the box. Okay, here's a letter from Daniel. Hey, Adrian, Merry Christmas, or if you know your backlog, Happy Labor Day. Yeah, so this actually is from only a few weeks ago. Please find some of the best chocolates around inside the package. Hugh's homemade chocolate. Made smelled like someone who'd clean your hotel room. M-A-I-D. Right, this is from Oshkosh, Wisconsin. I love it. It's a wonderful and strange place. They make these in the basement of a house they've been in business since 1942, and they don't ship. Oh, that's so cool. Well, tomorrow, I don't know when this video will come out, but tomorrow is going to be New Year's Eve, and I'm going to have these out for some of my friends to, they're coming over, they'll be able to try it. I hope you enjoy it. Included is the Mac Color Classic motherboard. It's been recapped by me. The behavior is the same before and after the recap. Sometimes it doesn't turn on, sometimes it does, but no video or boot. And the Color Classic does work, Daniel says, with another motherboard, so it's not that. Thank you for all your great videos, and good luck with the board. And it says, by the way, Daniel goes by Dan and lives in Genesee, Wisconsin, even though I read something else off the label. All right, here's that Mac Classic Color motherboard. So this will be for a future troubleshooting episode. There it is. So it's been recapped by Dan, and let's just take a closer look at this. So tantalums, okay, fancy. Everything else looks decent, but obviously all it takes is a flaky, bad solder joint, and then the machine is non-functional or crashy. That is not a broken chip or anything, that's just a little bit of leftover cleaning stuff, but you can see there some of that residue all over this area. This must have had quite a bit of corrosion on it or whatever from all these leaking caps. All right, cool. This is a math coprocessor socket, I'm pretty sure. There's our 16 megahertz 68030. The biggest issue with this board is it's slow. 16 megahertz 68030 should be decent, but no. This is a 16-bit data bus, hence, or no, maybe this is not. Actually, I thought it was because these are 16-bit ROMs and there's 2 of them. So maybe it's 32 bits. I don't know, actually. No, this is 16-bit. It just must have the ROMs on 32-bit because the RAM, this is 16 bits of memory on board, and then you have 2 30-pin slots. I think this is a ROM slot. I don't think this is RAM. Or maybe it's video. It's video RAM. So there's the video memory, but that's main system memory. So the reason why you can tell this is 16 bits is because these memory modules are only 8 bits wide and there's only 2 of them. So the fact that you can have 2 to upgrade the RAM means that the data bus to the CPU for the RAM is 16 bits, and that sucks when it comes to this processor. It really slows it down and leaves a lot of performance on the table. What do we have here? Oh, that's nothing. That's just a little battery holder. And there's our Hugh's homemade chocolates. The box is old school. I absolutely love it. There isn't even like nutritional information or anything. It's so old school. Well, like I said, I can't wait to try these with my friends tomorrow. Ooh, look at this. Wow, it looks so good. So good. How about this piece right here? Pretty good. Pretty darn good. It's milk chocolate. It's got nuts in it. It tastes really good, the milk chocolate, compared to terrible like Hershey's chocolate, like the worst chocolate ever. Sorry if anyone out there likes Hershey's, it's bad. These are good. It has nuts in it, milk chocolate with nuts. I love that. I am a dark chocolate fan as well, but I do like milk chocolate when it's cut down with nuts. I need that. If it's pure milk chocolate, it's just too much, too sweet for me. But these are super good. And like I said, Dan, thank you very much. My friends will be enjoying this, myself and my friends, tomorrow night for New Year's Eve. Oh, and incidentally, there was a photo of me and Dan at VCF on this letter. So that's awesome. It was very nice to meet you, Dan, and thank you very much for sending over this motherboard and the chocolate. All right, I think this is a record. I've opened up 10 packages so far, and I've been recording for how long? An hour, and there's gonna be some editing going on. This will not be an hour continuous because there's me faffing about in between boxes and stuff like that. But that's gotta be a record, but obviously, I'm not giving any of this stuff its due process, right? It's just getting the quick show and then moving on. Okay, I grabbed a big box here to try to bring the pile down a little bit. Do I have this microphone on properly? Yes, okay, good. Scream loudly, please, if the lights start flashing on here, because that means the battery is low and dying. How do I open this? This package comes from Gavin in Jolton, Tennessee. Hi to all my Tennessee viewers. Uh-oh, packing peanuts. I have to be careful and strategic about how I open this box. All right, first thing in the box, Panasonic. Oh, the viewfinder. That's right. I remember Gavin telling me about this. This is, if I recall, a tiny, tiny little CRT. I'm just trying to make sure there's nothing else in the box. It's hard when you have packing peanuts. You just never know. Something that's kind of hiding in there, but nope, that was it. All right, so it's a tiny little CRT viewfinder made by Panasonic. And I recall Gavin telling me about this. I think it was like a 1-inch CRT or something very, very small. And this would have been used on cameras, early cameras. I might actually have, if you can believe it, I have the camera that this goes with. And the camera that I have actually has the viewfinder on it. But I almost feel like this was optional for that camera. And the one I have has it. I need to make a video about it. That's in the queue as well. But yeah, this is it. Same. I have this exact same viewfinder, but this one is without the camera, obviously. And if you flip this up, there is the little tiny CRT with a record light and underexposure light, if I recall. And we have a little DIN cable. Wow, this is brand new. That plugs into the computer video camera, and that's not really DIN. Some kind of custom cable. Look at that little CRT, black and white, obviously. Freaking awesome. It's brand new. I can't even believe this. The date code's got to be early 80s, if this has one. Come on, camera. Come on, camera. There it is. 1980. Nice. Made in Japan. All the best stuff's made in Japan. This is so cool. Contrast and brightness. Yeah. Oh, I'll have to make a video about this, and we're going to try to, use an Apple II or an 8-bit computer on here. I'd figure out how to power this up. Should not be too difficult. And then it comes with this little thing here, and what this is, let me zoom out a little bit so you can see. So this screws into the side, and the camera I have has this. So this goes on here, and then this attaches to the camera and allows you to kind of position this in the right position. And it's got a little handle here so you can tighten it, and then you just put this up to your eye, and I think you can rotate this around, can you? I can't remember if you can or not. Yes, I think it does turn. You can flip this around. So if you want to use your left or right eye, and you hold this up to your face, and there you go. You use your camera. And I can't believe this thing is brand new. That is awesome. Really cool find, Gavin. Thank you for sending that in. Panasonic. Love it. Absolutely love it. And like I said, I can't believe I actually have the exact camera that this goes with. It's a video camera that doesn't have a built-in deck. It's color, so it's a color camera, but of course black and white viewfinder, and you use an external VCR. So it has this thick cable with a multi-pin cable, and you stick that into your VCR. Back in the day, you could get a Panasonic VCR, which when I was a kid, we had one of those VCRs and one of the cameras. I don't remember if it was this exact camera or the one that I have upstairs, but it's got a Vidicon tube inside, so it doesn't use CMOS sensor. It's so cool. Anyways, like I said, there will be a future video about the camera, but also about this awesomeness. I mean, this is brand new. I feel bad about even taking this apart. When I do make a video on this, it feels like we kind of have to take this apart, right? Maybe if this works and the one on my camera works, this one will go on the camera, since this is obviously brand new, and the one on my camera's used, that'll be the one that we can modify, take apart, do stuff with. It does work, though, from my recollection. And I don't have the VCR that goes with that camera, by the way, but what I do have is the eliminator, the camera power supply / VCR eliminator. So we plug this box in, that powers the camera, and it also gives you composite video output to, and audio as well, to send to a normal VCR. A little piece of the nut there from the chocolate. Very cool, Gavin. Thank you very much for that. That'll be in a future video, obviously. I need to make sure here that the stuff I've opened stays in one spot, and things like these boxes don't get mixed together with the stuff that I have opened, because I don't want to like accidentally, oh, there was a Polymatt sticker. Look at that. See, I almost lost that. Oh, and another one. What I'll do with these boxes, by the way, is I'll break them down for recycling, and I do go through them one last time, just in case I have accidentally not unwrapped something. So like, here's the box for the Panasonic that I'll be keeping, because I want to keep that viewfinder in there. Oh, yep, here are those cookies. But yeah, I need to try to keep some kind of order down here while I'm going through the packages. Let's just go to the next one that's kind of big. This package comes from Brett in Pace, Florida. Hi to all my Florida viewers. I must say, that it feels kind of good to be opening up some packages, even though the pile has only gotten a little bit smaller. It still feels really good because this was stressing me out a little bit. And you know, the fact that I'm chipping away at it. There's no way I'm going to get through everything in this video because it will be way too long. And you know me, I just can't go fast enough to get through everything. But I'm making a dent. And if I just keep this up and I keep this table here, then I can just keep working on it and then we can kind of get through everything. So we got some boards, I guess, and some Haribos. Oh, we have a letter down here. Let's check that out first. Greetings, I hope this letter finds you well. Your content is consistently interesting and informative. I'm always looking forward to your videos when they come out. And about a year ago, you did a second channel video where you were tracking down and fixing intermittent faults on a PC motherboard. In the package, I've sent along a 250-407C64 longboard that was meant to be my swan song for doing 8-bit repairs, but it ended up breaking me. Oh no, Brett, that's horrible. I was hoping you might like to take a challenge and do a similar video. And it says, let me give you a history of the board. And it looks like, well, it looks like there's a long history. And you know what? I'm gonna save this history for when the repair happens. Yes. So we got a nice letter here. Thank you very much for that. And yeah, let's take a look at the 64 board. And I just did a 64 repair video that is gonna be coming out. I don't know, it might not be out yet by the time this video comes out, but let's see how bad this looks. Oh boy, Brett, I can tell. I can tell there's a little bit of, yeah, breakage, like it's breaking you. When every single thing is socketed, except for one chip, and two chips. Oh dear, this is quite the board, I have to say. Sorry for laughing. I'm sure I shouldn't laugh, but I know the feeling. So yeah, lots and lots and lots of desoldering. I won't look too closely at the work that you've done, but you know, just seeing up here, I don't see anything that's ripped, but obviously this board is still broken and almost certainly all of this stuff has been tested in other machines, things like that. Although I wonder if these are fakes. Are these fake chips? You know, I don't know. These RAM chips, but I don't know. I don't want to jump to conclusions. I'm just really blown away. Even the 556 timer is socketed. Why is that socketed? That's just the reset circuit. What happened to this cap here too? It's like all bent over. Okay, nothing. It's fine. It's from shipping probably. Anyhow, there it is. We have two 6526s. And everything else, well, except for the logic, you know, the main chips have been removed, but that's okay. This will be very interesting to try to fix. Just check that out. Yeah, this is what happens when you're stuck and you don't know what to do. Oh boy. I will definitely be doing a repair on this video because the last 64 repair video I did was fun, but it wasn't like it was super challenging or anything like that. The biggest problem when you have boards like this is that so much rework's been done. It's so easy for you to have a bad connection or shorted connection under a socket. And I don't know, you know, how good Brett is at doing that kind of work, but that's the problem when you do this is you can get yourself very, very stuck. But I did see a little bit of a picture in there and it looks like the machine kind of shows some signs of life. So that's good. That means you can kind of try to do some troubleshooting versus just a totally dead black screen machine. I wouldn't be surprised if we might have a bunch of the chips here. Oh, and a whole lot of chips. So we got a bunch of RAM. So this is all compatible to 64. So obviously Brett was trying lots of the RAM. There's more of that Singapore RAM, Oki Data RAM. 7474s, and what are these? Oh, 556s. Lifetime supply of 556s, although, well, the letter will probably say more. I'm curious if these are AliExpress rebadge specials. That one is probably not, but they just look a little bit too shiny, like these have been painted or whatever. 556 is super common though. Some extra color RAMs or 214 SRAMs. We have some more of DRAM there. 7406 open collector drivers, CMOS 4066s, the 64 uses that as well, plus here's some more of them. And this is obviously all logic that is used on the 64. So Brett was obviously trying a lot of stuff to get this machine working, including trying a bunch of new parts. These are the main chips, maybe? Looks like we have more DRAM. A little note. Oh yeah, okay, so there's the VIC 2. It's one of the early versions that kind of sucks. We have the SID tick marks, so these obviously are good. We have the ROMs. Oh, we have extra ROMs. Well, I think probably what was happening is Brett was done with 64s and was like, here's a bunch of extra parts because I could use them. And in fact, I would have needed one of these chips on a repair I just did the other day. I am noticing, by the way, that we do not have a PLA. Interesting. Okay, anyways, that's a good SID, by the way. These 6581 AR or 4 ARs. Is that like a rebadge as well, though? I think that's a rebadge. Yeah, see the dimples? They should be deeper. This is like been sanded, and that is freaking fake. Laser etched. MOS did not laser etch chips. This is clearly laser etched. You can just see the lines. So this is a rebadge. There is no way. I mean, if it's a working SID, it has a W on it. If it works, there is no way this is the 4 AR. Those are my favorites. I happen to have one here. Let me grab it. Let's compare. I'm getting off topic, I know. Here it is. Here's what the original MOS 6581 AR looks like. It doesn't look like that. It looks like this. So anyways, that's a fakey. Fakey fake. I'm sure it's, I mean, I don't know if I'm sure, but I would imagine it's a working SID if it works, but it's probably not an AR because those are worth more. And it looks like Brett was doing some math to try to figure out what was wrong. So that was a little bit of the troubleshooting process, which we'll go with that later. So I'm gonna keep all this stuff together so that when I do get to do the repair, we can really look at all the parts and absolutely figure out what exactly went wrong with this poor 64. And good old Haribo's. Awesome, thank you for that. Okay, next package here, I picked up one of the bigger ones as well. It comes from Jose in Houston, Texas. Hi to all my Texas viewers. By the way, I will be at VCF Dallas next year. That is in 2026. If you've been to that VCF before, it used to be at the University of Dallas, I think it was, or Texas, Dallas. Anyways, it'll be in a new location in a hotel that is right by the airport, so easy for flights for people like me. Also, lots of parking. Also, the good thing about the new location is it's a convention center with an attached hotel so that people can stay and we can have adult beverages in the hotel lobby, stuff like that at night. And that's really the fun part about VCF. The old one at the university, we couldn't do that because hotels were sort of all around. People, stayed at nearby hotels, but no single hotel was where everyone was staying. Therefore, there was no after hours party. So I'm really looking forward to that new VCF, and I'm just trying to look for a date. This is from August. Okay, so there's a little PCB, and here is a microwave popcorn. No, it's not actually. There appears to be a wedge-shaped computer or something in here. Okay, so the note is on file number 1. So I have to, what is this? The AlphaSmart Pro from West Middle School, and it says Mac 2GS and PC, and there's like 2 ports there. The AlphaSmart Pro instructions. Turn on and start typing. There maybe are, okay, let's, oh, we have a little bit of corrosion in there. At finish, at the Macintosh or PC, save your new file. At the AlphaSmart, press clear file. So, was this for school kids? To like type and then they could transfer their files into a computer? Wow, that's very interesting. Turn off the AlphaSmart when you're not using it. It's from a company in Cupertino. It doesn't say anything about the voltage. There's a switch there on the top. It's a normal barrel jack. Huh. It does just take 2 AA's, I suppose that looks like. That means that I should be able to just power this up with like 3 or 4 volts. Well, let's see what's in here. Oh. It's a main board from a 1571 floppy drive. And that's actually quite useful because there are parts on here that I can potentially use to fix that 15, I forgot the part number of it. It was a Commodore disk drive that was used on the Plus 4 and C16. It's over there. I need to get back to that. I never got that drive fixed. It was smashed in shipping. It got put into a 1541 cage or case. And yeah, I think there's parts on here that are potentially useful to fix that. There's a lot of similarities between this and that disk drive that's over there. Specifically or potentially this chip, maybe. And yeah, it has a 6522 and 6502 processor and 6526. This is very similar or the same as the one on the 64. ROM chip, SRAM, another 6522, standard Jelly Bean stuff. There is another custom chip. Is it this one? I'm trying to think. It must be this one. Even though it's got like a Mitsubishi part number, I think this is like a MOS, on some disk drives, MOS part. Plus we have the hybrid. So anyways, there's parts of this that could potentially go to fixing that disk drive. So I need to try to figure out how to power this up. Let's hope that the memory hasn't been erased. I know I wasn't going to be doing testing and stuff, but ultimately I do want to read the note from Jose. And one thing I have to do is there's no polarity or anything was printed on here. We're going to have to just quickly figure out the polarity, or I'll just do that. Well, that's annoying. I guess the power input is isolated from the shield around those DIN jacks there. All right, well, it takes DC input. Let's just hope that they have some protection in there because I don't want to accidentally short this out. Since this is battery powered, it's probably really low power. So I have this at 4.6 volts, 300 milliamps. Okay, no current draw. Got 37 milliamps being drawn, and that is it. So if I turn the switch off, it goes to 0. Well, I know there was some corrosion inside here, but we'll just try a couple batteries. Hopefully these will work. Hey, look, Kirkland batteries. And this came in a Kirkland box. Okay, there it is. It freaking works. I hope you don't mind. Okay, wait, let's scroll to the top here. So it went right to the note. Hi, Adrian. After I watched your Commodore 1551, that's the disk drive video, I remembered I had a 1571 board sitting somewhere in my junk file. Scroll down. I love this. I think it's in working condition and it has the gate array. I think YouTube subtitles always translated when I said gate array into Gatorade. Anyways, the gate array you were looking for. I also want to send you this boring AlphaSmart. I hope you don't mind. Keep up the great work. I really enjoy your videos. JB, that's for Jose. And yes, the gate array is this Hitachi part right there. That is awesome. If anyone has any ideas of what exactly we can do with this AlphaSmart, let me know. Oh, look at this thing. That is so funny. Oh, the keyboard actually feels not too bad. But anyway, look at this. Command and Option. It's like totally designed for Mac users. That's super hilarious. And I guess there are different files. Opening file 2. Nothing. Well, if the memory was retained, it freaking works. I love this. That is so hilarious. Look, we got a bunch of files. I got to look through the rest real quick. Nothing. You know what I should do is maybe scroll. No, can't scroll down. Maybe there was something down below. Just in case. Okay, I'm spending time. I said I wasn't going to do this, but I'm doing it anyways because this is cool. Oh, I love it. So yeah, I guess this is for kids to write their stuff on and then you transfer to the computer later. Where's the It Freaking Works? I lost it. There it is. How cool is that? All right. Yeah, I think at some point in the future, I will clean up the battery corrosion. I mean, even though this works, there's still a bit of corrosion in there. And yeah, I don't know. If anyone has any ideas of what I could do with this thing, please let me know. And thank you very much, Jose, for sending in the floppy drive board there because yeah, I really need to get back to try to fix that disk drive. I grabbed another big box because it's making the pile go down a little bit. It's still huge, but it's going down a bit. This comes from Jeffrey in Howell, Michigan. MI, not Minnesota, Michigan. Okay, so the big package has a note. It says, it was great seeing you at VCF Midwest. What a tremendous show this year. I was so busy I never got time to do a complete walk around. Yeah, nor did I. My table was just huge. In fact, I have a bunch of stuff that's not here, not in this pile, of stuff I brought back from VCF that I need to show. There's a bunch of things, lots of photos people took of me and stuff like that. But anyhow, the letter goes on to say that I'll need to catch your panel when it's posted to VCF Midwest. I'm pretty sure that was posted already as packages from several months ago. As I showed you at the show, I came across a cursed Apple II drive from middle school. Oh, yes, that's right. I remember now. The statement in the listing gave an indication of what we're in for. Lights up, disk won't go in. Seems like it could be a good candidate for a cursed drive video. Best of luck working on this drive and wear your mask when you open it. Oh, that's right. And on the rest of the box, in case your drive is non-repairable, I've included 3D printed drive mount kit, 2 Gotex, and a PDP-8 online MFM emulator. What? Oh, that's so awesome. I have one of those already, but having another one's great because I intend to use one of those in the AT&T Unix PC that I have. That's from years ago. I need to get back to that thing. And once that's in there, then I won't have another one to, recover disk drives or floppy hard drives, with. Okay, well, let's take a look at the stuff that's not the toxic stuff. I'll need to save this disk drive and its absolute toxicity. Oh boy, you see this? You see this? It's full of dirt. So that'll be a future video. We're not going to open that. I remember now Jeff was so nice as to give me much delicious alcohol. That is adult beverages at VCF. Oh no, this got bent a little bit in the shipping. Not broken, just bent. Okay, probably a little bit of hot air. I should be able to get that back into shape. Okay, there's the bare board for the PDP-8 MFM emulator. And you put a beagle bone here and super caps there and parts there. Oh, look, a beagle bone. So the green, I think you can use the black as well. And that is freaking awesome. So this is cool. What did Jeff say this is for? Oh yeah, you can mount Gotex in here. You can mount 2 Gotex in here, obviously when this is not bent. So 2 Gotex drives and the hard drive emulator all in the space of a single full height 5 1/4 inch drive. All right, so this is just some information on how to get the front panel lights hooked up and stuff. So there's some buttons and lights and stuff there for the MFM emulator. We have a little Berg power cable adapter. Oh no, swappable USB-C power connector. I think that's for the beagle bone. And what's this? We have a little Molex connector. Awesome. These are some feet. And one more thing on here, a little bit more about how to get that front panel stuff all hooked up. Okay, yeah, here's a link, GitHub link for this MFM hard drive emulator thing. I'll have to build this up in a future video with some Gotex and stuff like that. With some pictures inside the floppy drive. Wow, that's bad. Lights up, disk won't go in. Yeah, I wonder why. It was full of dirt. Anyways, Jeff has an awesome display of VCF with all these S100 bus computers, and I hardly got over to talk to Jeff. I got to see Jeff when we were hanging out in the lobby, and Jeff was walking around with a bottle of whiskey, if I recall. So anyhow, that's how we got onto the conversation about this cursed disk drive with dirt on the inside. Thank you for double bagging that as well. It survived with only a little bit of damage on this 3D printed part. This is awesome though. This will be a future video to see if we can get this old drive working again. There are motors and things in there and they need to spin. And when they don't spin, disk drives don't work. But it's probably a Shugart SA390, which means I probably have spares and stuff like that. Okay, let's do one more box. And I have a postcard. This is it right here. This comes from Michael here in Portland, Oregon. Wishing you a holly berry, very merry retro Christmas and Happy New Year. And yep, looking forward to 2026. Cool. Thank you very much for that. Michael has previously sent stuff in before to Mail Call. I'm just putting information on my spreadsheet here, tracking sheet. Michael has sent stuff in before, like I said. Michael lives in Portland here. Now, this box also comes from Michael, but a different Michael. This Michael lives in Springfield, Virginia. Hi to all my Virginia viewers. This is something I accidentally opened because it didn't say mail call on it. So I opened it and realized very quickly that this was not something I had ordered. So let's see what Michael has sent. Okay, we have a note that says, "Hi, Adrian. I just saw your video," and this was back in November, where you were checking out several Atari ST machines. I came across more Atari ST parts since Super Mini Mail Call 9. Okay, let's go back to 9 on my spreadsheet here. Yes, here it is, Mike, Springfield, Virginia. That was 2021, an Atari C380 video pinball, Atari ST chips, Magic 8-ball box, pickles, CPU fan, and an Atari keyboard controller. That is awesome. Thank you very much, Mike, for that back then. And back to the letter. If you don't remember, that was the episode where Retro Rabbit had bought some Atari ST parts from me on eBay and had me ship them directly to you. I'd included other ST parts, a few random items, and that Atari C380 Pong console. Included this time are some keyboard parts, hopefully parts you need for the machine, missing keys in today's video, and some PLCC. Whoa. I just got a little bit of a fright. It's a fake bug. It's like a plastic cockroach just taped on the page. And I just saw it out of the corner of my eye. Anyhow, back to what I was reading here. PLCC metal brackets that may also help with those flaky connections. I'm also sending some 360 motherboard parts I recently got in a lot of arcade boards, which I fixed as a hobby. And I had an AT connector hanging on by wires. And Mike just goes on to talk about a little bit more about this PC motherboard that's in here. Okay, let's quickly take a look at this. Now, those Atari machines that I recently had on a video, was that main channel or second channel? I forgot. Anyways, I got those from James. All the ones that were in working condition and complete, I actually have already given away to local folks in the community here in Portland. But the broken machines I do still have, and there's a few of them over there, including ones I think need keys. So first thing is a motherboard, which is a 36SX motherboard. And these, of course, always suffer from battery damage over here in this area. It's in pretty good shape otherwise. It's obviously just missing a PLCC socket, but that's not necessary. Oh, oscillator, okay. Yeah, this would be kind of fun to try to get this working actually. And yeah, an AT power connector, but I have spares of those. And that's because I have old junk motherboards. I can just take one off of those. Very cool. How fast is this thing supposed to be? 40 megahertz. All right. So yeah, this should be an 80 megahertz oscillator. No problem. And I like these AMD things. And ALI, is this good or not? I can't remember. Some of these have built-in cache memory, and that really speeds up these old things. And, you know, it would be no problem on RetroWeb to find the correct BIOS if this is not the correct BIOS. Oddly enough, this has a little bit of a bend in it. I guess, I don't know, from heat maybe? Damage doesn't look too bad at all up here. Definitely a little bit of corrosion, but not bad, all things considered. So this might work very well, or quite easily, with just a new power connector, since this was already, I guess, removed by someone else. Okay, here are the parts. Yeah, that I'm just gonna recycle. That obviously can't work. Awesome replacement keys. Hopefully some of the keys that were broken on some of those Atari STs I have here. What are these? Oh, these are rubber membranes. Oh, and little plungers. Oh, cool. That's a lot more than these keys. Very, very handy. Lots of these brackets, PLCC brackets, so that's very cool. This is hilarious. In shipping, this bracket got completely stuck around this power switch. Anyhow, awesome brackets. There's the broken oscillator, 64 megahertz. That's not even the right speed. That's so funny that was on there. It should have been 80. Anyhow, yep, so that's not useful. And random screw and a power switch, which I assume is for an Atari, and another one that's a different footprint. Anyhow, this is awesome. Thank you very much, Mike, for sending this in. This will obviously go into the repair pile because I do like fixing that era of machines. And then I got to get back to those STs, and then hopefully with these parts, we can kind of get those things working again. And one thing I am going to do is, just in case I ever move this bag somewhere else, we'll just write Atari ST on here. In fact, I might just put this over with those Atari machines. That way I can use these parts to hopefully fix them. Okay, and with that, I'm gonna end this video here. 16 packages I got through, and you know what's funny? It doesn't even look like I made a dent, hardly a dent. There's still a huge pile there. So that probably was more like 50 or 60 things there, because 16 is almost nothing. And there are a couple big things, but now there's a ton of little things. So thank you very much to everyone who sent stuff in for this episode. And I'm really going to try to speed through this because I want that pile to be down to nothing. And then I can get to the big boxes, and then I can finally start to getting to repairing stuff like, you know, motherboards and floppy drives and all the other things that I need to get to. And I'll feel a little bit less stressed out not having this big pile. I do still have a bunch of other stuff from like a number of years ago that I've opened on mail call episodes. There's some footage that I've recorded that hasn't actually made it into a normal video. So there may actually be old school mail call episodes coming to you soon, because I got to revive that footage probably from 2022 where I opened some stuff up, and then I will probably do maybe some retro throwback Super Mini Mail Call episodes, or the old school. They were probably even before Super Mini Mail Call. It was back when it was just Mail Call on the main channel. Anyhow, thank you to everyone who sent stuff in. I think the oldest package today was, what, 2023 from Sean. Sorry about that, Sean. I'm hoping that there aren't more packages with candy and food in there, especially not things that are from 2024, like the cookies, the maple leaf cookies that Lewis sent in. Anyhow, there we go. Thank you very much for watching. I hope everyone is having a wonderful New Year's and a happy holidays. And I'm going to hopefully get ahead of the package overload and start finally getting to all the stuff that's here. I am so grateful to all of you, all my viewers, all my supporters, just everyone who's made this possible that I can do this full time. And yeah, I'm at a loss for words. And it's time to go to bed. Take care, and I'll see you next time. That was a bad intro or outro. Okay, bye.